about today we learn how to do a three-dimensional donut using basic watercolors. Stay tuned, and this is sort of how it ends, how it looks in the end. Very simple if you follow my directions. I hope you enjoy it. You can even dry it and take a bite out of it if you want. So stay tuned and let's paint. Hey guys, so I've been doing donuts this week, and so I want to walk you through the basic steps. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is you just sketch out a circle, and it doesn't have to be like an absolute perfect one, because talking baked goods, it's not like perfect in any way. So just sketch yourself out just a circle, make it big enough that you can work with it, and then you want to do the inside circle, and try to make it an even thickness around. So sketch that out, and let's see. Once you've done that, then you want to lay in like a kind of a fun frosting, and it just kind of curves in and out, and you want to do this kind of all the way around. Once you get the whole outside, then you want to leave a little bit of space when you do the inside, but right now just focus on getting it around the outside. It's very simple, curvy. So you want to leave a little bit of space so you can show the donut itself a little bit on the inside. So once you've gotten both of those drawn, all right, excellent. All right. So now you're ready to start with getting your paints out. So like I said in the beginning, I'm just using the basic elementary school set of watercolors. The first thing I do is I get it wet. I'm doing the frosting, and I just got my brush wet with water. The idea is we're going to be doing a wet on wet. So I'm dipping in water, and I'm just kind of spreading it throughout the donut frosting, the frosting of the donut. Now, because I have pink in this, and I want to do pink frosting, I'm just dabbing in. I'm doing wet on wet, so I'm getting some color and I'm dabbing it in and kind of dropping it in. It's really helpful if you got water in your palette first, and you got your colors nice and wet. But you're dropping it in, and when you do wet on wet, it really gives it a neat effect where you'll have light spots and dark spots. And that's sort of how you can give it the illusion of 3D. Later we'll come in and I'll show you about the shadows. But yeah, if you notice on this, look around how it dried. Darker in some areas and lighter in others. So, you could do any color frosting. Kind of just like that pink frosting, but you could do blue. You could do chocolate if you want. I just like color, so I'm going around and adding more water, and then I'll dig into that color and drop it in, especially on the edges. Kind of taking it around. Now this thing is funny because you've got to do it in stages. You can't do it in one shot. You're going to have to let it dry, let the frosting dry before you move on to the next step. And I don't know if part of this video I'll speed up. I'm not sure. We'll see. I'm just working my way around it. And if you need time in this video, it's going too fast. Like I said before, you can always stop it, pause it, or you can slow it down in settings and slow the video. Okay, so right now what I'm doing is I want a little bit darker pink, so I'm mixing the red with the pink to give it a little bit darker. Just want it to kind of pop a little bit more. Okay, it's pretty good. I know I'm taking my time on this, but I love watercoloring. It makes me feel so good. And there's so much you can do with it. Okay, that's about it. So now I'm going to let this dry. Okay, so since it dried, before I let it dry, and then I laid in a very a light brown. So I mixed up a little orange, a little yellow, and a little brown together to give it a very light brown. Then I let that dry. So once you've done that and you have your base color, it's now time to start getting a darker value in. And basically what you're going to do, sorry my head's in the way there. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to get less water and a little bit more pigment, and you're going to go and just sort of put a little bit here and there around the edge of your frosting, and you work it all the way around, and yeah, just kind of play around with how much you have on your brush, and like I said, not too much water, so you just want to put in like a little bit of a line. And with all watercolors, all my watercolors, whenever I do layers, I do many layers, and I do the light colors first, and then I come in with the shadows. So that's basically what we're doing here. So work your way around. And just mix in a little black in with the brown to make it even that much darker. So closest to the edge of the frosting, it's going to be much darker, but don't go too much. It's not too much. So, and I'm not doing it around the whole thing. I'm doing it here and there. And then I'll take a look at it and see what I think. And it's a little bit of a process. So um, I think I might speed this up a tiny little bit. Alright, so I'm speeding this up, but if you just notice how I'm dipping in the black and mixing it with the brown, and just gradually growing it a little bit darker, but don't take it all the way to the edge. And just kind of go around your frosting. And with this, you're looking down at the donut, so I'm figuring the light source is coming from kind of from the top. Later we'll do some kind of a little drop shadow to make it even stand out that much more. So work your way around it. Get that darkness in there. A little bit of value. And I suppose I could even speed it up more, but I want you to be able to see it. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now what I'm going to do is clean up my colors a little bit, and I'm going to drop sprinkles in. So just a little line, and don't make them all go in the same direction. Have them sort of go in different directions so it looks natural. So I'm first putting blue in. I'll figure out my other colors. And just drop them in. And because I used a light color frosting, now if I were to use a brown, you're not going to be able to really do the sprinkles very well with watercolor. So do my like reddish orange. Yellow's going to be a tough one to go, but if you got the pigment dark enough, you probably could do yellow. Let's try. And I might have to go over it a couple times. All right, now what I'm going to do is kind of play around with that edge color. I just want to darken it a little bit. Okay, notice that donut up above was the one I did earlier, and I'm going to teach you how to do that. So what I'm doing right now is I'm starting to put just like I mixed up a little dark blue with a little black, and I'm putting in a little bit of a shadow and just smoothing it out so it gradually gets lighter. I'm going to do it on the inside of one side of the donut and the outside of the other side of the donut. These would be really fun birthday presents or birthday card, or you could frame one and then give donuts. I don't know. I'm using a paper towel to sort of dab it a little bit. Sometimes I can overwork a watercolor as well. I'm adding a little water, and I think I'm going to brush it out into like a square. Playing around with it. Now, I also could ruin it at this point as well. So just know, like, I can overdo it. And at first, I was kind of thinking I was doing a little too much, which it ended up being fine, but you could overdo it if you didn't. I mean, if you overdid it, just start over. No big deal. But I was just playing around with it. I think it ended up being okay. In fact, I kind of like this one better than most of them. Another fancy thing you could do, and I didn't show in this video, is you could put a little shadow around each of your sprinkles, but let's just be real. Let's just keep it simple. So, just stay tuned, watch the rest of it. I'm just kind of messing around with it until I'm happy with it. So I darkened it up a little bit more. Now, I'll tell you too, another thing with watercolors is everything dries a much lighter. So, once it's dry, you'll notice your colors lightening up a little bit. So it's okay to go a little bit dark and not really worry about it. And the other thing with watercolors, it's easy to sort of erase by adding water and dabbing it up with a paper towel. So, a lot of times kids don't like watercolor because you don't have control. But if you notice, this donut was done with really not a ton of water. The most water we used was for the frosting when we did wet on wet. So have fun with your donut. Enjoy. and I'll see you later.